regarding the Senate standing order, the decision that was done today. Are you satisfied with it?
First, generally, this is self-serving, self-centered. From those who propose it and those who oppose it. You are living witnesses when we stood up on this floor and raised our concerns about the Electoral Act as presented before the Senate. Having worked in the Committee on Electoral Matters for almost 2 years, we raised serious concerns here about some provisions that are in the Electoral Act. In the name of party supremacy, people kept quiet. Now, because some people felt they have an ambition and going forward, therefore, slightly they are touched. This particular matter is not about Nigeria. This matter is about the Senate and the institution and those who want to aspire for leadership. This institution has a history that is institutionalized. In 2023, when we came here, this particular ranking was thrown under the bus. Why you could say a principal officer who is coming to the Senate for the first time, a senator who is coming to the Senate for the first time, the first week became a principal officer. The biggest of the committees were given to new senators. Now, at the end of the day, after 3.5 years, what has those senators performed as chairman of committees? Some could not even call meetings. Some, when they call meetings, they could not even preside. A lot of people make noise or it touches them. In this chamber, it is the work of you journalists to investigate. There are committees that are in place for 3.5 years. Their chairman did not call for one single meeting except when it is budget. So the entire scenario is being seen as personalized. And therefore, until we are ready to cure this malice, we'll continue to see it because a lot of laws were passed tailored to particular group, tailored to particular party advantage, tailored to particular individuals. That is the order. That is the truth.
So however, what's the next move of the Senate?
The next thing is that the Constitution and the Senate rules allow the Senate to regulate itself. As long as the regulation does not impugn to the Constitution, the Senate is allowed to do that. Therefore, rescinding, bringing a motion, whatever that anybody wants to bring, he can bring, as long as it makes sense, as long as it is not about himself or themselves or about a group that are coming to take over. We know all this. You are journalists. Some people are saying they are coming to take over. Some people here are saying they want to be. So that is what is being played here. And unfortunately, by the ruling party, as opposition member, we are looking at them.
But will you let it stand, just looking at them?
It does not matter if in 2027 we have more numbers. They have worked for us. So we are just looking at them as if, they are assuming as if in 2027 they are going to come with this number. As far as I'm concerned, that is a foolhardy, and that is not something that should be in a law that is in the Senate.
Yes and no. The first thing is the rules of the Senate are binding on the Senate president, just like any other member of the Senate. And those rules says, don't take it from my mouth, you can get a copy and read it. It says, once a senator raised point of order, and in this case, I raised order 70, the Senate, the presiding officer, in this case the Senate president, is obliged by law, not by discretion, to allow me to read that point of order in relation to whatever we are discussing. If in his judgment, after reading it, he doesn't think that it has merit, he has the discretion and the power to rule the point of order out of order. But he cannot deny you the right to raise it. And you'll be witnesses to the practices here. Even that yesterday, the chief whip was trying to raise point of order. if you deny me day before yesterday, why are you doing this? And what is in this point of order? When you are dealing with important matters, I think Abaribe took advantage of that during the constitutional amendment. And it's under 70. What order 70 says that to determine the decision of the Senate, you want to use on important matters the ayes and the nays, because that is open to abuse. So once you raise that order, the presiding officer has no discretion but to divide the House. Those who are for, like last time, they asked people to sit. Those who are for, those who are against, and then you count. It's transparent. Because I wanted Nigerians to know who are those senators who are making laws that are self-help, self-centered, and informed by what I consider to be a selfish interest. Because the ladder you use, you cannot turn around to want to destroy that ladder. Majority can have their way, but the law allows minority to have a say. And to my shock, the Senate President refused me the right to raise that point of order. That was before they passed it. And my view is that because the rules were not properly passed, because he declined what he was obliged by law to admit, that is to say, to divide the House. So the nays and the ayes were his business. That was my position.
How many senators
and
do
so,
you think?
and wait, it's not about what I think. Follow the procedure. The point I was making yesterday is that I wanted to draw his attention that once you didn't follow the procedure to make a law or to make a rule, you are putting something on nothing because the procedure is defective. That is the point I was trying to raise. And they will say I should correct, don't move emotion. Okay, let me correct to say that everything here is incorrect because they are not properly done. And now you switch off the mic.
I was going to ask, how many senators do you think aligned with your view yesterday?
There is no need to speculate because my speculation will be as good as your speculation. But what I can tell you is that I understand the logic. You know, people are facing primaries, people are lobbying and all that. So some people are strong, some are worried. That's not important. If majority makes a decision, provided that decision does not conflict with the Constitution, I don't care. So it's not about whether I think my motion could have scaled through or otherwise. No. But Nigeria, the beauty of democracy, why that section 70 is inserted, is that when they say aye, nays, you can't hold your senator responsible for it. You say I wasn't one of them. I want Nigeria to say who are those senators who are trying to narrow future leadership to themselves, as if it's a family or traditional rulership. And for me, that is not it. Now, let me say why this thing has serious moral crisis. The Senate President became minority leader on his first day in office. On his first day, when they swore in, on his first term, when he got into the Senate, I think in the 9th or 8th Senate, right? He became a principal officer, minority leader. He's not the one presiding and asking us to change those rules such that even somebody who had done one term, particularly if you came to the court, you can't even be. Number two, as we speak today, the Senate President has not done 8 years in office. Even if you count the previous one plus the current one, it's not yet up to 8 years. So if we pass the rules that you must do 8 consecutive years before you can be Senate President, it means he has to lead by example by vacating. Because he's presiding without acquiring the appropriate qualification. But more offensive to me is that as leaders who are product of bylot, we mustn't make laws to perpetrate anyone. David Mark, Senator David Mark, had the honor and privilege of serving as Senate President for 8 years, not by playing with the rules. Those rules that enabled David Mark to preside for 8 years, what is wrong with them? Those rules that enabled this Senate President to contest for Senate presidency. What is wrong with them? Why changing it now? Because you think that next time, because last time, this rule of what term, ranking, that's what you require. And it turned out to be the only one from the South, where it was zone 2. So now he feared that more senators will be eligible, which will broaden the competition base. And now he wants to shrunk it. If other people are afraid, I'm not afraid. I am only afraid of my creator. Because I've seen whether you tell the lie, you tell the truth, the date of death, you can't adjust it either forward or backward. That is my life experience.
The rescission, does it help you?
It's not about me. First, let me say the whole kernel of today's rescission is that he's saying we shouldn't make rules that are in violation of the Nigeria Constitution. Because evil law, if it violates the Constitution, you legislate in vain. Or the act becomes invalid to the extent of the contradiction. Now, go and look at, I think it's section 52 of the Constitution as to how you can become a Senate president or deputy Senate president. It simply says, upon proclamation, senators-elect shall meet, and the clerk of the National Assembly will conduct the election into the office of Senate President and Deputy Senate President. That is the Nigeria Constitution. So you cannot make rules, but you can involve a culture, say, okay, maybe we need an experienced person. But even at that level, I will say, if he has enough experience to be a minority leader without previous one-day legislative experience, if he has the experience to be elected as Senate President after just 4 years, and he will tell you he's presiding well, and we have also said he's presiding well, why does he think that 4 years is no longer enough? That you must do 8 consecutive years? The other one that is extremely provocative is to say that even people who have been in the Senate before, who are even senior to the Senate President in terms of ranking, they done 2 terms and they left. Either they were voted out, or they contested for executive position, or they were appointed as minister like himself. When they now come back, they are not considered as ranking. Here, if you want me to speculate, because I had the question about this other guy, is that he's looking at, for example, if the former deputy Senate president was to win election in Delta, Senator Mgbeke, because he is not in this session, in the 10th Assembly, he will not be eligible. What is special about being in the 10th Assembly? Then, even David Mark, if he was to be, even after all his previous, because he's not the 10th Assembly, he will not be eligible. What is special about the 10th Assembly? Then Okowa, a former senator before he became governor, if he decides to contest, and I hear he's contesting, if he wins and he chooses to vie for the presidency of the Senate, what the leadership of the Senate was trying to do was to use these dubious, I use the word dubious cautiously, intervention in the rules to disqualify them. Why are you afraid? Hope Uzodinma is the one the newspaper seems to focus on. But because you don't know the whole ramification of the law. Now, tell me why you will say, as journalists, for example, that if you were editor 4 years ago, and you left to go and do, maybe, just as an example, to go and do PhD. So you left broadcasting, or even to do some other things. And then you come back, then you apply for a job, and they're looking at your CV, and you will probably say, I was editor of Channels Television or Arise TV. I was actually reporting from the National Assembly. They will say, oh, those past experience doesn't matter. Once you have left for you, and you are coming back. Who does that? Those should count in your favor, not against you.
Will you still come back with emotion?
Pardon?
Will you still come back with emotion?
First, I'm happy that on their own today, they have revised based on the provision of the Constitution. But only in part. There is still substantial debts that are illegal and that is completely at variance with the provisions of the Nigerian Constitution, which we are not at liberty to amend.
So
Do you feel shortchanged yourself?
No, it's not about me. Don't restrict it to
I
me.
know. Do you
I ever
think-
told you I'm contesting for office? What I am contesting for is the president is the seat to represent the people of Edo North. Any other thing is not my right. It's a privilege that can only be conferred by fellow colleagues.
Thank you, sir.
And lastly, I respect ranking, but the Constitution of Nigeria does not put weight. And no matter what you want to think of yourself, it is only to the extent that it's in conformity with the express provision of the Nigerian Constitution. So all of these things will not matter. Best example, when some people supported him, and I was one of those who supported him. Ironically, I was one of those who supported him even as a first-timer against Senator Yari. The day interpreted that Yari's first term was in the House of Rep, and therefore he's not ranking. Okay? But ranking contested that election. If he got majority, he would have won, because whatever they were saying is inferior in the face of the extra provisions of the Nigerian Constitution. I just think that you, the media, that is how Africans become live presidents. Let me just give you my interview. Let me go. You know, with that of Cameroon, you see.
Of what exactly happened today?
In conformity with Section 52 of 1999 Constitution, that spelled out who is qualified to elect the presiding officers. So the Constitution made it clear that it is the senators will be sworn in first before they can elect their presiding officers. So I'm glad that we have looked at that, and I'm also hopeful that we might also look at some other provisions that has already been amended.
So the bone of contention is order 5, which has to do with a senator that have served 2 consecutive terms. That was not talked about. What's your
Well,
reaction?
that is why I'm saying that I'm glad that the Senate have started looking at it, and they will also look at that in due course. We're not done yet, and you know this is about the 3rd Amendment of our rules that we're doing in this 10th Senate. You know, this 10th Senate have removed the secret ballot to now say that it will be by open ballot, raise of hand, which is open ballot. So I'm sure that we'll still look at them.
Do you think there is this intention to want to slice some people, shut some people out?
No, I don't think so. But even if that is so, it will be contested and debated. It is not a finality yet. As far as I'm concerned, everything you see is still work in progress.
Let me be very straightforward with you, sir.
Yes.
It's out there that your governor wants to come to the Senate, and the implication of that is that it's from your senatorial district. You may have to take your position, and there is an attempt within the National Assembly right now, the 10th Assembly, to shut people like him out. Tell us more.
No, I wouldn't want to comment on anything personal, on anybody. No, I wouldn't want to do that on a live television. That would be unfair to him, and that would be unfair to me.
Have you in any way sensed an attempt by some persons inside this 10th Assembly to want to maybe...
No, but from what you are talking about, the session you are talking about, that has to deal with back to back.
Yeah.
8 years, one of which
must
be preceding,
Yes.
have shut out a lot of people. So you don't even need to personalize. So leave it as it is. That's why I said,
Forgive my...
that is why I'm saying that in due course, people will begin to look at this. And the Senate is amenable. The Senate President himself is amenable.
Okay.
He's very amenable. Whenever
Why was the amendment even necessary?
no, I wouldn't know because I'm not a member of the principal officers. But I'm saying that if the senators themselves come together and say, look, we don't want this, the Senate President himself is amenable to it.
Distinguished, one of your colleagues, Senator Ezenwa, have already granted an interview saying that what the Senate has done so far is self-serving and is unconstitutional.
But I'm granting an interview now, commending the Senate for rescinding the part of the amendment, which is Rule 2 and 3, which is not in conformity with Section 52 of 1999 Constitution. And I'm